This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe, and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, March the 14th, is a legend in Nevada for playing for UNLV in college, and actually was a star for the Charlotte Hornets and New York Knicks in the NBA. He was actually a major star, like in TV as Grandmama, and made some TV appearances and some commercials about that. However, his stuff can't be denied. He's 54 years old, and he is Larry Johnson. I know that there's other Larry Johnsons out there. It's one of the most common names in the U.S. and all that. But this Larry Johnson, the NBA player, actually wanted to play at Severn Methodist. But then he would go to Odessa College because of the administration, about the legitimacy of one of his SAT scores. And also the fact that SMU was also dealing with other stuff, such as their big, famous scandal with the football team. But anyway, he played at Odessa for 2 years, and actually won the National Junior College Athletic Association Division One Player of the Year both times. And some said that if he declared for early entry, he could be part of the 1989 NBA draft. But Larry Johnson wanted to play for a big-time program who could play him. So he transferred to UNLV to play under Jerry the Shark Tarkanian, alongside Stacey Ackman and Greg Anthony. Larry Johnson was part of the team that got to the 1990 NCAA Finals against Duke. Well, Johnson was huge. 22 points, 11 rebounds, a double-double in the championship game, and UNLV won the title 103-73 against Duke. There were a lot of records set by the UNLV. But in that one game in the final, the largest margin of victory in the final and highest score in the NCAA championship game by one team, 103 points. Unfortunately, UNLV ran into some problems with recruiting violations, misconduct. None of it was Larry Johnson's fault. So UNLV was allowed to compete for the 91 NCAA crown and all that, but would actually have a suspension for postseason play the following season. The weird thing is that UNLV had a perfect regular season at 27-0. They were chasing the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers as being the last undefeated champions and all that. They ran up the score. They were up by 26 points. They won games by 26.7 points, including a win over Arkansas in the 1-2 match. Not in the tournament, but overall. But anyway, in the NCAA tournament, UNLV got to the Final Four and would face Duke again. Rebel fans would be hoping for a UNLV victory, just like the previous year. But unfortunately, though, Duke would beat them in the Final Four in one of the most classic semifinals ever, and it helped Coach K get his first title. Larry Johnson only played 2 seasons at UNLV because, well, he was kind of a senior, but 2 years at Odessa. So he was 12 in career scoring and 7 for rebounding still to this day, and was inducted to the UNLV Athletic Hall of Fame. Anyway, the 91 draft happened, and Charlotte had the #1 pick, and they needed somebody to help them out. They were a struggling expansion team, if you will. And Larry Johnson was named the #1 pick. And it worked out. He won Rookie of the Year. He even took part in the slam dunk contest, losing to Cedric Ceballos and his supposed blindfolded dunk. But yeah, Larry Johnson first on the scene. And he actually became a starter in the All-Star game in '93, making him the first Hornet to do so. And then he put up 22 points and 10 rebounds per game, which made him second team All-NBA. He helped Charlotte get very good with the fans, with Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues, and Del Curry helping out too, and helping the Hornets shock Boston in the first round, which unfortunately was the last time Reggie Lewis played in the NBA because of his heart attack. Johnson was made in endorsements by Converse, LJ and Grandmama, and actually was on the cover of the first ever Slam basketball magazine. Larry Johnson signed a 12-year, $84 million deal with the Hornets, making it $7 million a year. But 12 years, that was risky back in the day. Unfortunately, he sprained his back and would miss a significant amount of time. However, He was part of the '94 World Championship team, that the Americans that won the gold medal in Toronto. Anyway, Larry Johnson was a power forward, explosive. Unfortunately, because of his back, he decided to develop an all-around game, and it worked out. He even made 81 three-pointers in '95. Unfortunately, there was friction with with Alonzo Mourning, and the organization made a change. But the weird thing is that the Hornets didn't pick one of the two players to play on their teams. They dumped both off. Although prior to the '95-'96 season, Mourning was traded to Miami for Glenn Rice, which was a pretty decent move. After that year, Larry Johnson was traded to New York for Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason was good, but he was brooding. Anyway, Larry Johnson didn't really do that well and all that. Unfortunately, during Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, when the Pacers took on the Knicks, he was involved in a controversial play. Anyway, Johnson was outside the three-point line with 11 seconds left and leaned into Antonio Davis of the Pacers, got fouled, and then threw the ball in the net for 3 points. But the replay showed that he leaned into Davis. The foul should have been called, and then his shot would have been disallowed, because the foul was half a second before Johnson released the ball, but it was made a continuation foul. Johnson made the shot, 4-point play, and the next one, 92-91. Unfortunately, Larry Johnson got into trouble by basically proclaiming things for Allah. But nevertheless, Larry Johnson, during the '99 NBA Finals, actually characterized his New York Knicks as a band of rebellious slaves. And he basically wanted to point about slavery. In Game 4, he said some stuff about, "We from Massa Johnson's plantation. We're from the same plantation." The NBA is full of blacks, great opportunities, they make beautiful strides. But what's the sense of that? When I go back to my neighborhood and see the same thing. I'm the only one that came out of my neighborhood. Everyone ended up dead, in jail, on drugs, selling drugs. So I'm supposed to be honored and happy or whatever my success. Yes, I am. But I can't deny the fact of what has happened to us over years and years and years. We're still at the bottom of the town pole. That kind of makes sense, but, people didn't really like it. Anyway, he actually had chronic back problems that forced him out before the 2001 season ended. So he did okay. Larry Johnson went back to school and UNLV got a Bachelor of Arts degree in social science. Anyway, Johnson did convert to Islam and all that. But anyway, Johnson had 5 children with 4 women and all that. He had to file for bankruptcy, owing over $120,000 in unpaid child support. Larry Johnson actually was in the famous Family Matters episode Grandmama, when Steve Urkel was supposed to play with Eddie Winslow in a 2-on-2 basketball tournament. But Eddie brushes him off for somebody, I can't remember who. But anyway, Steve Urkel found someone at the senior center who could play basketball, and it was Larry Johnson dressed up as Grandmama. And I think they win the thing. Regardless, he was even in Space Jam. Yes, that's right. Larry Johnson was one of the 5 NBA talents to get their talent stolen and all that. But Larry Johnson was not actively there when in the scene that the Nerdlucks stole the talent. It was just off of a TV highlights thing. But yeah, Larry Johnson does his job. He put up 707 games as a Hornet/Nick, 16.2 points per game, 7.5 rebounds in his career. In the playoffs, he made a couple runs with the Knicks in '99-2000, but other than that, he was nothing. 14.2 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game. But yeah, the Knicks in '99 were great. They were an 8 seed that somehow got to the NBA Finals, and Grandmama did it. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, a dude.